Welcome everybody to our live stream. We are so excited because tonight we are officially launching our brand new book called Back to School, Back to You, A Mom's Guide to Balance and Blessing and a School Year Transition. And y'all are in for a treat because tonight we have 7 of the 10 authors that contributed to this collaborative book live with us here at the Hope Bookstore. And we have our other 3 authors that are joining us on the live stream as well from home. So this is going to be so much fun. Go ahead and make sure you share this to your profile so that other people can see it, and definitely grab a copy on Amazon. It is live right now on Amazon. Back to School, Back to You. My name is Brian Dixon. I'm the founder of Hope Books, where we help you discover, share, and publish your message of hope. And we're so excited that you're here tonight. We believe that you have a message to share and an audience to serve, and that the world needs your hope-filled words more now than ever before. So here's the format of the live stream. I'm going to invite each of our authors who contributed a chapter inside of Back to School, Back to You, ask a few questions, tell me a little bit about your chapter and where you can follow them. And I highly encourage you check out the book, and then also check out each of these incredible authors who have done such a great job. I see you. I'm so excited. They've done such a great job contributing to this amazing book, Back to School, Back to You. Real quick, the vision of Back to School, Back to You is that as a parent, specifically as a mom, as you're raising your kids, you put your kids first in so many ways. And so the idea behind this book was, how do you maintain self-care? How do you maintain your identity? How do you figure out who you are when you send your kid to kindergarten all the way through college and beyond? And so we've got really diverse voices and perspectives on the different stages of life. So let's give a hand for our authors. They're going to be joining us live. Yes, you can hear we have a real audience here. And I want to please welcome up Jamie Inman. Welcome, Jamie. Awesome. I feel like I'm on like the Tonight Show or something. So Jamie, you grab your microphone and you scoot over a little closer so that we're on the screen. There we go. Awesome. There you are. Amazing. Well, Jamie, you're one of the authors that contributed to Back to School, Back to You. And you wrote a chapter in this book.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about your chapter?
Sure. Okay. So my chapter is called Educating with the Eternal View, and it's Remembering Your Why. And so this kind of stemmed from a conversation I had with my 8-year-old son. Actually, it was many conversations I had with my 8-year-old son and other children about why do we have to do math? And that just rolled into a series of questions of, what's the purpose of education? And for kids, obviously, they're trying to get out of it, right? But as a grown-up, we understand that this is an important thing. But my chapter really just challenges us as educators, moms, dads, teachers, grandparents, anybody in our kids' lives, to really just consider your why. Why are we educating? And to look at it as a tool. It's a tool that God uses in their life to make them who he wants them to be. Mm-hmm. And I think that's important to remember as we educate our kids, that we have access to so much here.
Yes.
The United States just has a lot of academic tools at our disposal. And so I really wanted to just encourage parents, any educator, to just remember, why are we doing what we're doing? It's to bring our kids to a point where they can serve the Lord with the education they have. And so
let's give her a hand, y'all. Come on. That's amazing. I love it. Follow-up question.
Okay.
Why do you think that this is such a challenge for parents today? Like, what are one of the big challenges that parents are facing that you've noticed today?
Well, our culture, our society really pushes education for the purpose of really creating a very happy and comfortable life, right? That's the whole goal. We want to, create this environment for us, our families, our children, where we just can kind of live without, the difficulties. So as parents, I think of this. I think, I want my kids to have better than I did,
yes.
right?
Yes.
So we really want that for our children. But and our culture is constantly telling us that. And I'm just really kind of trying to challenge parents that there's a different narrative in Scripture, and we need to pay attention to what the Bible has to say about education. I use examples from the Old Testament, from the New Testament, characters who we know and love, and we look at their education.
Yes.
What kind of education did they have, and then how did God use them? And so I just really wanted to encourage parents to just really put the cultural message aside for a minute and just think about what the Bible has to say and how that can affect our education choices.
So important. I love it. And for those watching the live stream, I saw the hearts coming in. Thank you for being with us. This is so fun.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So Jamie, where can people learn more about you and the writing that you have to share?
Okay, well, I have a website and it is www.jamie/inman.com. And then on Facebook and Instagram, it's jamie.inman.writer. So
awesome. And we'll make sure to post the link as well. Jamie, great job. Congratulations on including your chapter in Back to School, Back to You. Y'all give her a hand for being our first author to share. Thank you. Amazing. If you're just joining us, we are doing a live stream for our launch of our first collaborative book at Hope Books called Back to School, Back to You. We have 10 incredible authors that contributed a chapter to help moms remember their identity, remember their why, as Jamie just talked about, what she shared in her chapter. And make sure that you share this live stream to help spread the word about this important book. It is available on Amazon and you can get your copy right now. So we're so excited that you're seeing. I see the comments. It's awesome. So the next amazing author that we're going to invite up is Anna DeBill. And Anna wrote a chapter inside of Back to School, Back to You. Anna, come on up. Everybody give Anna a hand. Awesome. Welcome, Anna.
Hello.
There you go. Okay, so the camera's right there.
Okay.
Is this your first live stream ever?
Well, I was on the news last week or 2 weeks ago.
She was on the news last week. Just the news. How do I compete with the news? That's so awesome. I'm so proud of. Were you talking about the book?
No, actually, I was talking about nutrition and back to school nutrition, but
Come on.
they said I could maybe come back with this too.
I love it.
Yeah.
Amazing. So Anna, tell us a little bit about the chapter that you wrote inside of Back to School, Back to You.
Okay. So it is entering the college drop-off zone and empty nest and what's a mom to do. And so it's that whole process of how do we prepare our kids for the college time, and then what do we do in that process, giving you tips and information about how do you act as a parent and what do you do. And there's lists, packing lists. Even someone in our group said I use the list. So
I love that.
So and then also then going into empty nest.
Mm-hmm.
And with the empty nest, what do you do? Everybody has a different story of how their empty nest is going to work out. Maybe it's something you dreamed about, or maybe it's something you're just like, I just said, do the next right thing.
Right.
Just move ahead and just keep figuring out what you're supposed to be doing if you don't know what you're supposed to be doing. So
amazing.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So we have a ninth grader, and I just can't imagine the challenges of empty nesting. What would you say is the biggest struggle for parents right now when they're getting into that empty nesting phase?
Okay. Probably the main thing is they're not there. Like for me, I moved like half across the US from my kids in the empty nest.
Okay.
So they're a distance, and it's just, they're not with you. Your life changes. The communication changes. Like I have a daughter who's like, hey, I'm not going to talk to you that much because that's just my personality. And it's just the struggle of like, I want my kids back, but they're not there. And you have to move on with you and how that looks. And I know things change when they have kids or when they're married. Things change throughout life. So just dealing with change and knowing it's not going to be the same, but it might be something different, or it might be something more fun in the process.
And that's why this book, right? Back to School, Back to You.
Yes.
And I've seen that so much, even with my coaching clients, that when your kids go off to college, so much of your identity is kind of wrapped up in sports and musicals and academics of your kids. And then you send them off and you're like, who am I?
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
And that's where you find like a new niche or something new. And I started getting into writing, and
I love it.
And had a dream of writing a children's book and everything. So you just pick up what you're doing, or you can go into your career and just immerse into that, or church events, or whatever you want to do. It's up to you.
Good. Amazing. So Anna, this is such important work. Where can we learn more about you and the words that you have to share?
Okay. I have a blog, and it's Dable Around the Table. And so Dable rhymes with table.
Love that.
And .com. And my Instagram is Dable Anna. And then at Facebook, it's Dable Around the Table.
Amazing. Y'all give Anna a hand for being here. Thank you, Anna.
Yes,
great job.
Thank you.
Great job. Awesome. I hope y'all are having fun. Are y'all having fun in here? This is so much fun. Wow. Well, if you're just joining us, we have just launched a brand new book. It's our first collaborative book at Hope Books. The idea here is that we'd have 10 authors, each contributing a chapter to this book. And the first book that we've ever published that's a collaborative book is called Back to School, Back to You, A Mom's Guide to Balance and Blessing in a School Year Transition. And specifically tonight, we're talking about the different transitions as a parent that we go through with our kids at the beginning of a school year. My kids just started school today. Today was the first day of school, so I dropped them off. My wife, Julie, picked them up, but I got to see them after school. And there's so much identity wrapped into how are they doing, right? We have a high schooler, a middle schooler, and an elementary school student. And it's like, are they good? How are they doing? And then how am I doing with them? You know, so that identity is such a big part, which is why it's called Back to School, Back to You, right? And so our next author that we have to come up is Karen Cathcart. Welcome, Karen. Give her a hand. Awesome. There we go. Come on in.
Hey,
Awesome.
Brian.
Hi, Karen. And just pull that microphone over there. This is, oh, we got it. This is
Well,
live.
you didn't tell
We
me
got
that the
this.
microphone was attached to the
There we
stand
go.
that the lovely real plant
I
is
love it.
was sitting on. Yes, this is all the way live, y'all.
And then you can see yourself there, and we're live here. This is so fun. Welcome. We're going to do a blooper reel at the end. So
100% right here.
awesome. Well,
Here
Karen,
for it.
welcome to the live stream. Tell us a little bit about the chapter that you wrote
not touching
inside
it.
of Back to School, Back to You. This is so fun.
I wrote chapter 4, and I'm a visual learner, so I had to bring the book. My chapter is entitled Joy for the Journey, Wisdom for the Way. And it really came because I thought, Brian,
Yes.
that I had this motherhood thing on lock because I've done the back to school thing
Uh-huh.
for 2 children who are now in college twice. So I should know, right? God always gives us exactly what we need when we need it. And I needed this in this season because this back to school season was different from any other that I have experienced. So I kind of got stripped, my onion layers peeled back, and I was drawing from the wisdom of my fellow authors. I was like, God, I'm in a place where you just gonna have to help me. Where am I? Where
right.
am I,
right.
Jesus, in this? So that's the season that I'm in, and that's where y'all are finding me right now.
Amazing.
So the stuff that I wrote, I said, what did I say about encouraging yourself and
We have
reflecting?
to read our own
and-
writing.
I did.
Yeah, we need to. We need to like coach ourselves. I think so much of what I write is because I'm learning it as I'm going.
Mhm.
So good. So what's the difference between the last few years back to school and this kind of bumpy year?
It wasn't bumpy.
Mm-hmm.
It was just different
Ooh.
because my adult children
Mhm.
are putting into practice what we've taught them. So the stepping back and saying, oh, you don't need me to breathe anymore. Oh, you don't need me to sign that. You got that? Oh, it's an adjustment.
That's right.
So we're semi-empty nesters and rapidly approaching full empty nest.
Congratulations.
And it's that awkward in-between stage
Mhm.
of, yes, it's in the bag. I did that, got a bow wrapped around it, and what's next? So we're not all the way there, but I remember the kindergarten send-off. I remember the going to middle school. Ooh, not sure I would go back
I
to
made it
that.
through once. I got 2 more to go.
I'm gonna pray for you.
Thank you.
And I remember high school, and we're in the midst of college, and it does have its own set of
Mhm.
challenges and joys. We are experiencing the joy. My husband had the children to pull out all of their certificates and stuff that had accumulated from, and they were like, I don't know, I don't have. And when they started pulling, I was like, oh no, I remember you have more than that because I was the one taking you to orchestra. I was the one that was there at those
Yes.
practices. And when they saw it, they kind of felt that sense of accomplishment. So it's like, yes, our identity as moms is a lot in how our children do, but then also taking a step back to reflect and say, look at my husband and say, hey, we did a pretty good job.
That's
We've
right.
got some citizens of the world that they might be equipped to do a little something for Jesus.
They're taking what you taught them and they're applying it.
Yeah.
Which can which I think is encouraging, but also it's a little bit like maybe they don't need you as much as they needed you, and that can be hard as well.
It's the adjustment, but
Yes.
also seeing that it's a good thing
Mm-hmm.
that what we put in them, they have the tools and the equipment to
Yep.
be able to stand and to be able to move forward and to be able to speak for themselves and advocate for themselves
good.
and others. So it's like, who are you? And where were you when you lived in our house? Like, why did you not act this way? So that's what I mean about the journey
Mhm.
and the joy of it,
Mhm.
because it is a way that, we've seen that path, but then there's more to come.
That's
So
right.
there's a part that we've seen, and then there's a part that's unknown to us.
Amazing.
And that's where that trusting God comes in. So Proverbs 3, 5, and 6, that's what I lean on, not leaning to my own understanding. Because I'm like, okay, I know you, I birthed you, but okay, you doing something completely different. I did not expect that. Okay, Lord, I'm trusting you to help me through this phase with these children that belong to you. These grown folk,
You're like, remember who they belong to.
they're your children.
Yeah. I think that's a whole book.
Okay.
I think you've got a whole book. Don't you all agree? That's a whole book. Karen, this is amazing. Tell us, where can we learn more about you and the words that you share?
You can meet me on my blog at KarenCathcart.com. I also have a YouTube channel where I host the Combo Lab, conversational collaborations with dynamic women. And I'm somewhat on LinkedIn, peeking around on Facebook. Might come back to Instagram just to hang out with Brian.
All right. I love it.
But meet me at my blog. That's where I share my hope-filled words.
So good. Y'all give Karen a hand. Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Amazing. I'm so
Scared
proud
of the
you.
microphone. Do I really
Okay.
leave
Yeah,
now?
we just kind of scooted over there.
You
Excuse
scoot
my
back.
reach. There we go. Okay. Are y'all having fun?
Yes.
Amazing. Awesome. Oh, I didn't see that part. Well, this is live, and this is the first time we've done this, so I hope you're enjoying the ride here. We are doing a live stream to celebrate the launch of Back to School, Back to You, which is our first collaborative book at Hope Books. 10 authors each contributing a chapter to this amazing book. And our next author who's going to be joining us is, let's see, Enid. Enid, come on up. Awesome. Give her a hand. Awesome. Hi. Welcome. You made it. You grab that microphone, pull it a little closer.
Okay.
Or slowly.
gonna
There
be
we go.
Right,
There we go. We did it.
Very carefully.
Awesome. Amazing. Okay. Enid, do you have to pronounce your last name for me?
Sure. It's cheer like cheerful.
Okay. I love it. Well, I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you.
Congratulations on contributing a chapter. You did it. You're now a published author. How's it feel?
It feels wonderful.
I love
It's
it.
been a bucket list item
Really?
Yes.
For how long?
for years.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, years.
Yeah.
And when I had the opportunity, I thought,
I
it's
love that.
time. It's time.
So good. So good. I know when I received our first copy, it was just at the end of the week, I think last week. And then I flipped through the back. You can see each of our authors have their own bio and a little section in there. And so, Ina, when I saw you in there, I was like, this is so exciting.
It is exciting.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. So
Thank
tell us a
you.
little bit about the chapter that you contributed to Back to School, Back to You.
Sure. Well, my chapter is loving your unique self
Mhm.
and avoiding the comparison trap. And I wrote the chapter from a unique standpoint
Mhm.
that I wanted it to be for moms, but also so that a mom could hand the book to their middle schooler or high schooler
Ooh.
and say, here, let's work on this together. And I think that back to school transition time can be, it's exciting. There's new friends, there are new activities, but at the same time, it can be anxiety inducing.
Mhm.
And our middle schoolers and our high schoolers can fall into the comparison trap.
100%.
And you know, Theodore Roosevelt had a quote that apparently it's attributed to him, where he said, "Comparison is the thief of all joy."
So good.
And I think that's really true.
Mhm.
So I'd like to be able to help moms to help their children on how to avoid the comparison trap.
Yeah. Where do you see it the most? Is it more middle school or high school or both?
I think it is definitely both, but it really hits our middle schoolers.
Yes.
Like just head on.
Oh, yeah.
First, you know, beginning, and all of a sudden there's a lot of comparison, whether it's the clothing or the talents or who's wearing, what type of shoes. So we've all been there. I hope as moms, we can remember that middle school, high school angst that we experienced.
Yes. Amazing.
Mhm.
So if you had one word of encouragement to moms who have either a middle schooler or a high schooler
Mhm.
who's just gone back to school recently, like what would you say to encourage her?
I would say, obviously, if you put God first and you really focus on Psalm 139, where God really shows us that he knit us together
Mhm.
in our mother's womb. So we are all made our individual self. We can rejoice in that. And when we get that on straight as a mom, we can help our children do the same.
I love that. Amazing. Well, Aina, thank you so much for contributing a chapter.
Thank you.
And we haven't shared this yet, but we actually recorded each of the chapters in the audiobook. What was that like recording your chapter?
I enjoyed it. I really did. That was so much fun.
Awesome.
So much fun.
So our goal is in the next few weeks, maybe a month, we'll have the audiobook available on Amazon as well. But make sure you pick up a copy of Back to School, Back to You. We have the paperback and the hardcover as well. Get a couple copies for your mom friends.
That's right.
How many copies should they buy?
Oh, I mean, goodness, at least 10.
At least
right?
10.
At least 10.
Come on. But it does make a good Bible study as well to go through each of the 10 chapters, 10 weeks, 10 chapters.
Oh,
Sounds like a
absolutely.
good
Full
deal.
of scriptures
That's
and
right.
reflection questions. It's awesome.
Amazing. Well, Aina, thank you so much, y'all. Let's give her a
Thank
hand.
you.
Awesome. And then we'll just go like that. There we go.
Can I say where they
Okay.
can find me?
And where can we find more about you? Oh, you want to be in charge? You can interview me. Go for it.
You can find me on Instagram at eCheer, which is TCHIR. I'm married into that one. So it's eCheer, TCHIR on Instagram. So there you go.
Amazing. I love
Thank
it.
you.
Way to go. Way to go. And that's such an important part of sharing your message is being able to find what the next step is. And so following each of our authors on Instagram. So I love that. That's awesome. Well, if you're just joining us, I'm so glad you're here. We are celebrating the launch of Back to School, Back to You, a mom's guide to balance and blessing in a school year transition. And I'm so excited to talk with Nikki Tick. Nikki, welcome. Awesome. Welcome, Nikki. Let's get that microphone right there.
Right.
This is
Awesome.
so fun.
I love it.
How
This
you
is fun.
doing?
I'm great. I'm
This
great.
is amazing. Well, you wrote a chapter in Back to School, Back to You.
I did.
How did that feel?
It was great. Honestly, it was great because it's something I'm passionate about. Just the moms that I'm speaking to in this chapter. So it was
Yay.
great.
Now, when you were writing your chapter, like, how did you think about the mom that you wanted her to hear your message?
Honestly, it was emotional
Mhm.
because I know that, and honestly, we're talking a lot about emotions in this chapter
Yeah.
on what it feels like to release. It feels like you're releasing. And as you know, you had a child just start high school. So
That's right.
so that's the mom I'm talking to, of the mom of the high school freshman.
Ooh.
So it is just a tender place.
I hope Julie's
So,
watching this live stream right now. My wife.
very tender place. So I wanted to meet that mom in that space.
Yeah. Why do you think sending your kids to high school is such a tender time?
Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
It's this new stage of independence. And for me, I just knew.
You
it's
can
like-
hear that? You got some,
I know,
You
right?
got some, we're gonna need a little amen next.
It is. I know. Like I'm in church.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is just this new level because for me, I said he has these 4 years. He is going in. I'm driving him, and the next time when he's leaving for the last time, he's taken his ACT. He has the driver's license, going
Yeah.
to prom, going to college. There's so much life lived in
Wow.
those 4 years.
Yeah.
And it just felt like you blink and it goes by. So I think to send them into that space is there's grief there.
Yeah, grief. That
Yeah.
was not a word I would have expected. Tell me a little bit more about that.
I think that releasing I think it was more of a shift in motherhood,
Mhm.
and there's a grief there
Yep.
because when they're little, it's exhausting and you're cleaning up messes and doing all these things. But as they get older and they gain their independence and
Mm.
you don't feel as needed, there's a level of grief.
Oh, that's so real. I love that. So, I mean, I don't love that it's real, but I love that you're being real
Yeah.
because that's really the heart, right? That's the
Yeah.
heart, is that we needed that your hard story can become your hope story.
Mhm.
And so you've lived through it. Now, how old is your kiddo
He's
now?
21.
21.
Yes.
Okay,
yes,
so
yes.
there's hope on the other side.
There's hope on the other side.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what would you say is the biggest challenge that like moms are facing today, and what encouragement would you have for her?
One thing I think is we don't know what to do with those hard, heavy feelings
Mhm.
about this next stage. So it's easy to suppress them when we should express them. So I love that this chapter walks through how to do that, because I did not do that well. And I was like, I'm fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. I'm crying, but it's fine.
Mm.
And it was not fine. And just to be able to normalize saying this is hard, because I think that helps women feel seen.
Yeah.
And that is something that is extremely important.
Mhm.
So, yeah.
Oh, so good. Okay. I can't wait to have y'all dive into that chapter specifically if you have freshmen in high school like we do in our home. So where can we find more about you, Nikki?
All right. I have a website, nikkitig.com. And I also am active on Instagram. So you can find me there, Nikki Tig.
Amazing. Y'all give Nikki a hand. Thank you so much for sharing your words inside of our brand new book. We are celebrating our brand new book called Back to School, Back to You. It's our first collaborative book. If you've ever thought about writing a book by contributing a chapter, you can go to hopebooks.com/collab, COLLAB, hopebooks.com/collab to learn more about our upcoming collaborative projects. This is our first one, which is such a big deal. You can see each of our authors are featured in the back right here. And I just happened to turn to Bonnie's page, and Bonnie is going to join us. Bonnie, come on, welcome. Y'all give Bonnie a hand. Awesome. And just slowly slide that microphone over there. Don't yank it. Just kidding.
Okay.
I'm so glad you're here.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about the chapter that you contributed to Back to School, Back to You.
Okay, the chapter that I wrote was about the transition to middle school, the one everybody said, oh.
Uh-oh.
And I wrote it from the perspective of communication, prayer, and community, because those are all really important things to help a mom to handle the things that may occur during the middle school years.
A lot of things occur during the middle school years.
There are a lot of things.
Oh my goodness.
But it's survivable.
Yeah.
Look at all the people who've survived it.
That's true. You seem like you really enjoy the middle school years. Is that true?
I do.
Yes.
I mean,
What's a blessing about the middle school years? Because I think middle school gets such a bad rap. Y'all agree? Middle school gets such a bad rap, but it seems like there can be joy in that season as well.
yeah. I mean, you love them.
Mm-hmm.
They love you back.
Yep.
Sometimes they don't, and you just don't. You just can have to. You have to care less.
Right.
You know, if they are not feeling lovable or loving. I worked with students in youth ministry,
Ooh.
and so sometimes they're not in a loving mood, but sometimes I'm not in a loving mood.
Yep.
I mean, it's
That's true.
okay.
And you
And-
wait 5 minutes and then they forget.
Right. And they change.
That's
And they
amazing.
can organize the games for me. I don't have
Yes.
to organize the games.
That's so good. Okay, so you mentioned kind of 3 strategies to help moms survive those middle school years.
Yes.
What would be the first one to start with? Like, what would you say if you could give one word of encouragement to a mom of a middle? What would you say?
I would say pray.
Mhm.
I said communicate, pray, and community, but I would say pray. That's the biggest thing. Pray for them to know the Lord. And I've also in the chapter included some things that if you're not where you want to be in your own relationship with the Lord, that the steps can help you to do that. And then by doing that, it will encourage your child on that path. Because ultimately that's what we want for them.
Yeah. And you made it through?
I made it through twice.
That's right. That's twice. So how old are your kids now?
28 and 25,
Okay.
and married to a beautiful 28-year-old and a 26-year-old.
Amazing. So
Yeah.
there's hope.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
That's so encouraging.
Yes.
So, and Bonnie, where can we learn more about you and the words that you have to share?
At BonnieSMcDonald.com. And then I'm on I'm on Facebook and Instagram as Bonnie Shue McDonald.
Amazing. Y'all give a hand for Bonnie. Thank you,
Thank you.
Bonnie.
Appreciate it.
All right. Awesome. Well, I hope y'all are having fun. We have a few more authors that we're talking to tonight. We're doing a live stream about Back to School, Back to You, which is our brand new Hope Books collaborative book. And I'm so excited to welcome Amy, who's our next author. Amy, come on up. Welcome. Welcome to our live stream. Awesome. And then just pull that microphone a little bit closer. There we go. All right. Awesome. Amy, tell us a little. Hi, welcome.
Hi, thank
This
you.
is awesome. Have you
Hi.
done a live stream before?
I have not.
All right. Well, good. This is so great. I'm
This is
so
great.
proud of you contributing a chapter to Back to School, Back to You.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about the chapter that you wrote for this book,
Okay. Well, mine is also about transitioning to middle school.
because we need 2 chapters about that.
We do.
We probably need like books about.
we do.
Yeah.
We do.
Yeah,
At
okay.
least. However, mine is more of my personal journey in learning about my son being diagnosed at a young age,
Mm.
both with epilepsy and Asperger's.
Wow.
And really the struggle, that the fear that I had that really gripped me about learning how will I release him to learn how to advocate for himself and struggle through the social circumstances that he will need to struggle through in middle school in order to grow and be who he needs to be.
Yeah.
Because in elementary, all of the strategies and supports were in place.
Mm-hmm.
And as a mom, you can sweep in and rescue and take care of. But when you get to middle school, that dance begins to happen. And I was not ready for that. And so really it became kind of a wrestling match between me and the Lord. And it was hard. It was hard. We had 3 hard years.
Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing. There's moms that are going through that right now, which is why it's so important for you to share your story. Amazing. So for a mom that's there right now and just saying, I completely resonate with you, Amy, and where you're coming from, what's your encouragement to her?
That he first, or your child, boy or girl, at first, that the Lord is with you. And second, that he or she belongs to the Lord. I mean, he is sovereign over all of it. He knows. And that to piggyback on Bonnie's message, to pray. Pray, pray, pray. And that is what I say in my chapter, is that when I realized there was nothing tangible I could do, I could pray. And I began to pray that the Lord would provide one faithful friend.
Yep.
One friend.
That's so good. Yeah.
And if he could walk away from his 6th grade year, and then it was his 7th grade, and then his 8th grade, because 7th grade was really hard. But if he could just have one faithful friend, it was a win. He doesn't have to have scores of friends.
Right.
You don't have to have friends on both hands. And we know as adults that we walk away with just a couple of really good, solid friends. But we're not playing the popularity game.
Yeah.
But that would be a win. And so he is in his sophomore year now, and he's doing great.
Yay, congratulations.
But we're playing a different game.
Yeah.
And so it's so great. It's so cool to hear how it all dovetails and works together. We're not playing the comparison trap. We're not playing, we're going for eternity, right?
Yeah.
It all weaves together.
Way to go.
So.
Oh my God, give her a hand. That's why we believe the world needs your hopeful words, because there's moms right now that are struggling, especially sending your kiddo from 5th grade to 6th grade, and where you can't be there as much with middle school as maybe you could be in elementary. So Thank you for contributing that chapter. Amazing.
Thank
Amy,
you.
where can we learn more about you and the words that you share?
Well, I'm on Instagram, and it's Amy D. Phillips, 78.
I love it. Awesome. 78. I'm 78 too.
All right.
Yeah. Awesome. Y'all give Amy one more hand.
Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you.
I appreciate it.
All right. Well, I hope y'all are having fun. That is it for our in-person authors, which was really fun. All of our authors that contributed to Back to School, Back to You, we invited them to come to Matthews, North Carolina, just outside of Charlotte. and participate in our live launch, which is super fun. And it's the first time we've done this. So I think this has been fun, right? This has been awesome. Okay, now we're going to do something I'm a lot more comfortable with, which is the live stream with our remote guests. So we have, I see two, there might be one. So Chelsea, if you're joining us, make sure you click the link. But I see Takia, so I'm going to bring up Takia. And Takia is going to share about her chapter that she wrote. Let me just make sure that this all works. There we go. Takia, how are you? There we go. I got to go like that.
Great. How are you?
Well, welcome to our live stream. Tell us a little bit about the chapter that you wrote for Back to School, Back to You.
So my chapter is called Teaching Through Transitions, Balancing Classroom and Home Life. And so it's funny that I come right behind the two people talking about middle school, because I actually returned to being a middle school teacher. While my child was starting middle school and the other was starting kindergarten. And so my chapter is about all the little simple things that you don't think about when your mind switches into teacher mode and you want to bring work home, but you don't want to bring work home, and you want to do this and you want to do that. And the kids have school activities and all the little things that kind of get lost in the shuffle of being a parent when you're the teacher. And it's always that conflict of taking care of everybody else's children while feeling like you're not necessarily taking care of your own, because you're with them 7 hours a day. And then depending on, because I teach middle school, by the time I get home, we've already heard about middle schoolers. They are exactly who they are. They are very special people. We love them, but they are draining some days. And so you get home. Yeah. And you're just trying to figure it all out.
That's so good. That's particularly challenging as a teacher, because you're giving so much to other kids that sometimes your kids can kind of get the end of your energy. So what advice would you have to the moms out there that are working with kids on a regular basis, and how do you kind of balance putting more time back into your kids?
The biggest thing that I learned during COVID was, as much as possible, do not bring work home. Yeah. I know sometimes you can't avoid it, like report card time and things like that. But I used to be in this habit of every day I would bring home like stacks of papers and stuff to grade. And so once COVID hit, I was like, I refuse. I'm just not doing any of that. And what I realized was that by not doing that, it frees up your evening to do other stuff, because, I'm a mom, I'm a minister at church, I'm an entrepreneur. So I have like other things of life happening once I walk out of the school doors. And so the biggest thing was to keep that balance, leave work at work, and be okay with the fact that everything's just not going to get done, which is hard because as a teacher, they want you to get everything done. But it takes that extra, I guess, fortitude or, forward thought to just be like, you know what, it's not done today and it's fine. And you live in the world of yet. I'm not done yet, but it'll get there. I'm not here yet, but I'll get there. I haven't made this stride yet, but I'll get there. My kids don't know this yet, but they'll get there. And when you put yourself in that place and be okay with that place and, just constantly pray. It's like on a repeat reel all day long. From the time I'm up in the morning until the time my head hits the pillow, is Lord, just guide my feet, guide my path, let me teach what you say teach. Let me say what you need me to say. And so that way you don't leave empty. And by the time you get back home, you can fill back up, because now you're filled with all the love and the joy from your own children.
Amazing. Takia, I'm so glad you're here. Tell us, where can people learn more about you and about your writing?
So you can learn more about me from thereadywriteher.com. I'm an author as well as being a teacher. And so I've written like books on top of books on top of books. And my latest one is a children's book. So I'm so excited because I got to play with AI and fix all of that stuff. And I am on all social media outlets as Takia the Teacher.
Amazing. Takia, thank you for being with us. All right, that worked, which is great. So awesome. Thank you, Takia. And I love what she said about yet. I'm not there yet, or this isn't, but yet. And so if you're live with us or watching the recording, type in the word yet, Y-E-T, So I think that's so much of the perspective of Back to School, Back to You, is that there's different stages in the journey as a parent, and you're in the middle school stage, the high school stage, but you haven't arrived yet. So I love it. I see Takia and Dawn. Go ahead and type it in the chat. Yet. Well, I'm so excited because we're not done yet. We have two more authors. That was funny. Come on, y'all. We have two more authors to share with us remotely. I'm going to bring up Carrie to share a little bit about her chapter that she contributed to Back to School, Back to You, a mom's guide to balance and blessing in a school year transition. Carrie, welcome to our live
Thank
stream.
you.
How are you?
Okay, I'm doing well. Can you guys hear me okay?
I hear you great.
Okay,
I'm so
great.
glad you're here. Tell us about the chapter that you wrote for Back to School, Back to You.
Well, can I detour for just a second before that? Because I just have to say, I've read all of the chapters. And, you know, we talk about middle school and college and high school and all that. Every one of the chapters has a wealth of wisdom for every age. And so I just think I don't want to limit us to a certain age or only moms or for moms, dads, teachers. I think there's such a wealth for every age group. So, you know, read it and share it with your friends. I think there's a lot of wisdom there for everybody. So anyway, my chapter is Building Authentic Confidence, Practical Tools for a Successful School Year and Beyond. So I feel like one of the greatest challenges that kids face is a lack of confidence. I know I struggled with it as a student, to see my own abilities, as an adult, to recognize my value, my capabilities. And as a teacher and as a mom, I saw this struggle in my students and my children daily. And it can be debilitating, but it doesn't have to be. So in this chapter, I try to outline the lessons that I've learned as a student, as a mom, as an educator, in a relatable way that encourages parents and teachers to embrace the unique qualities into the kids, students, your own children that are entrusted to them. So, and I believe that there's a balance that has to be achieved in building authentic confidence without making an overconfident bully. And that comes from accurately recognizing individuality, having high but reasonable expectations, guiding, correcting, learning from failures, and celebrating successes. And I really believe that success breeds success. Got to be careful there. Small successes build confidence.
I was like, we're not going there yet.
Why not?
All right.
Let me repeat. Success breeds success.
I was like, I haven't read that chapter. That's the next book.
I'm going to be living that one down for a while. And parents and teachers can help those individuals see their value. I did practice saying success, by the way. See their value in everyday events. And anyone involved in educating a child has a responsibility to train a child up and build them up with some main biblical principles. And just real quick, thinking accurately about who they are and the gifts that have been given to them, Romans 12. Speak to the students or children with the intent of building them up and not tearing them down, in Ephesians 4. Helping them to understand their uniqueness and that the love of God, parents or teachers, is not based on performance, wealth, or appearance, based in 1 Samuel 16. And this is one that we've talked about already, but do not compare your work with others. And there's a verse about that in Galatians 6. I used to have it posted in my classroom. My goal in this chapter really is to share my heart in a way that equips parents and teachers to give their children and students the gift of authentic confidence through an approach to life that really, and education, that's very organic and genuine.
Amazing.
So,
Carrie, I'm so glad that you're here. It's such a wealth of wisdom to share. And where can we learn more about you and about your writing?
Well, I do have a website, carrielynwillis.com, and my blog is Soul Water. I also have a few other books that are out there on Amazon, so you can look at my Amazon author page. And Carrie Lynn Willis is my author page, KeriLynn Lynn. Willis is pretty easy. Anyway, and then Instagram is Carrie Lynn Willis, and Facebook is just Carrie Willis. But there's a bunch of Carrie Willises out there. That's why I added the Lynn in there.
I love it. That's so great.
Yeah.
Carrie Lynn Willis, thank you for being with us, and thank
You're
you for
welcome.
contributing your chapter to the Hope Books collaboration. Back to School, Back to You. Y'all, we made it. We are at our last author of 10 authors that have contributed chapters to Back to School, Back to You, our first collaborative book for Hope Books. And I'm so excited to talk with Chelsea, who also contributed a chapter to Back to School, Back to You. Chelsea, welcome to our live stream.
Hi, Brian. Thank you for having me. This is so awesome.
Isn't this so fun? It's so fun to see all these authors stepping into their calling and sharing their hope-filled words.
I love it. I love it. This is so great. I'm so bummed I can't be there in real life with you guys. You guys are having such a fun party over there, but thank you for including us via live stream. This is so fantastic.
Amazing. Well, Chelsea, you've been on the team behind the scenes in many ways at Hope Books, but you stepped into onto the stage and actually shared your hope-filled words in Back to School, Back to You, which is really fun to see. Tell us a little bit about what that was like for you to go from supporting authors to actually becoming an author yourself.
Well, I'd be lying if I say Brian didn't have a little bit to do with that. You've been such a great source of encouragement, my friend, and I appreciate that. So yeah, it's been really great. I have to say, I absolutely love the Hope Books experience. It has been such a wonderful experience for me. Your project coordinator, Julie Faulkner, is absolutely incredible.
Julie. Oh my goodness.
Julie is just such a blessing. The editing team, the publishing team, everyone was just so fantastic to work with. This is my first experience, so I have nothing but positive things to say about publishing with Hope Books. It was so fantastic.
Amazing. Okay, tell us more about your chapter that you contributed to Back to School, Back to You.
So my chapter is encouragement for homeschool moms. It's called Embracing the Journey, Encouragement and Hope for Homeschooling Moms. And so I wrote my chapter because this is something that I would have loved to have for myself when I first delved into the world of homeschooling 5 years ago this year. So it's just a source. It's meant to be written as a source of encouragement, whether you are just dipping your foot in the world of homeschooling. You don't know if you want to homeschool. Maybe you've been homeschooling for over a decade. You're a veteran in it. It's just a chapter to help you feel inspired, hopeful, motivated, encouraged. I have a lot of people in our community that are curious about the world of homeschooling. And so I wrote the chapter also as just an introduction kind of to the world of what it is.
Yeah.
It's very just, baseline, like this is what we do. It doesn't, you could write a whole book on homeschooling, right? I mean, there's tons of books about homeschooling.
And maybe you should. But I love that about your chapters that it's like how to actually get started in homeschooling. And I know that you're probably equally passionate as I am about the way that we raise our kids and the schooling options that are there. And, homeschooling isn't necessarily for everybody, but it is an option that maybe parents need to consider. So I really feel like you wrote a chapter that is a good kind of entry level, like getting started, considering how to get started in homeschooling.
That's right. That's right. It's not for everyone, but it is for some. Yeah. And that's one thing I really try to reiterate over and over again in the chapter is that it should be a year-by-year decision guided by prayer. If this is the path that the Lord is calling to you, I want you to know that you're equipped and you can do it well. But it's a year-by-year decision guided by prayer, ultimately.
Amazing. Awesome. What would you say, Chelsea, to a mom who is maybe feeling a little hopeless about her schooling options and is starting to consider homeschooling? What advice might you give her?
My biggest piece of advice would be to try to find someone local in your community, if not local, someone online or someone that you know in your circle that you could reach out to. I kind of mentioned this in the chapter, and just take them out, or if they're not local, do a Zoom call, phone call, and try to pick their brain and ask them for advice and wisdom on how to get started and what they did getting started. There are so many communities, even just looking on Facebook or Google, but try to connect with someone in real life if at all possible. I mean, you could reach out to me if you wanted to. I'd be happy to be that person for you if you really don't have anyone in your life that you could reach out to. But try to find a mentor mom or someone that's gone ahead of you and reach out to them and try to see if you can pick their brain for support and encouragement.
Amazing.
Tips.
I love that. And what's really cool about this brand new book, Back to School, Back to You, is there are 10 mentor moms with their contact information right here. Y'all okay with that? Yeah. Okay. 10 mentor moms. So if you know you're facing that next transition, whether it's your schooling options or the next grade, or even going into being an empty nesting mom, great resources for you. Chelsea, where can we learn more about you and about the words that you share?
I am on Instagram. You can find me at The Ranch Mom.
The Ranch Mom. Awesome. Chelsea, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you, Brian. It's a pleasure.
All right, y'all. We made it. Give yourselves a hand. So make sure, for those of you watching the live stream, make sure you grab a copy of Back to School, Back to You. And if you made it all the way this far, leave a review. It really helps the book get out. It helps all these authors get their words out there. And of course, once you get a copy of the book, then go to the back and follow each of these amazing authors. Thank you so much for watching the live stream. Y'all, thank you for being here. Give yourselves a hand. Awesome. We made it. Awesome. Okay, so Amazon, Back to School, Back to You. Have a great night.